Granny. It's one of these games you've definitely heard of, and if you're a huge fan of the franchise, you definitely know the lore behind this game and the creator. Dennis Vukanovic or DVloper is a Swedish developer, which we'll call DV for now. DV has been making games for nearly 15 years now, and he has made two of the most successful horror game series in the escape genre, Sanjuna and Granny. Although we're approaching the 5th year since DV has even released the title, he has been cooking up some updates recently, and who knows what he's making next. Or he's just taking a years long break. But there is no surprise that DV didn't just make 17 games, he made the entire genre come to life, and he knew exactly what he was doing. This is an entire franchise no one saw coming, and this is the entire genius behind it. Now, DV has made some games before he started making Slendrina and all that stuff, such as Bar Guy. This is what started his whole career and what got him to all his Slendrina stuff. But what DV made beforehand is not important to the 15 games he made about Granny and Slendrina. It all started in 2013, where he made his first ever Slendrina game. Slendrina! Slendrina. This was a mobile horror game, and it dealt with you collecting 6 objects in 4 separate places. There was a catch though, and that was Slendrina, or this woman that apparently looks like this, is stalking you. Every once in a while, she appears in front of you, and you're supposed to look away from her gaze within seconds, or else she will kill you. But once you do get the 6 items, the exit will open out of the map you're in, and you're granted a way out. Yay. The concept is really boring, but unlike the last games and the supposed app DV made, this one didn't fail, and actually was getting kinda popular. Now this game released in 2013, so graphics and this are expected, but in 2014 the developers wanted to change things up a bit. Looking back at his previous success, on March 21st, 2014, Slendrina the Cellar was one of the more successful versions of Slendrina. You're inside a cellar, and instead of objects, you're collecting books, which might seem confusing on why, but these objects are very important to the lore, which we'll get into later. Slendrina also not only jump scares you like this, she could apparently peek out to jump scare you from the closet, and in many other ways as well. There are also keys which unlock rooms that may contain books, and a difficulty system was added which changes how often Slendrina appears. This caused the game to boost in popularity, and as the game started to gain traction, DV released, well, another game. Of course, I won't go over all the games like this one over here, but what I will go over is House of Slendrina. This game is more unique than a cellar, as based on what the first sentence says, you actually came back, this time in Slendrina's house, as you're curious to who Slendrina really is. You explore the house, collecting keys in between to unlock rooms with pages in our house. This time, there are more jump scare, Easter eggs, better graphics, and supposedly, you can see Slendrina's mom on the bed looking very upset. Oh yeah. Once you do collect all the pages, you can get the key to unlock the door to the cellar. You have to keep walking and walking until you find a box, which once open, reveals Slendrina family. Yes, what you're seeing, Slendrina, her mom, or Angeline as I should call, and Slenderman? Wait, I'm sorry. After these 2 games came out, the franchise started to get a lot of attention. Many people were downloading the game, making videos about it, and the game in question was successful. Around 2014 to 2015, this is a top standard for mobile games. Good enough graphics, unique theme, unique storytelling, and a smart twist of Slendrina to jump scare you anytime while collecting objects around the map to win. This success later contributed to the release of Slendrina The Asylum. This game had way better graphics than the previous 3, had Angeline, one of the threats of the game, as she roamed around the asylum as a terrifying looking old woman struggling to walk. She drains her health, and Slendrina also drains her health if you look at her. But don't worry, as this can heal you back up. Also guys, have you noticed the design of Slendrina getting better and better over time? Like look at this design back in 2013. It's probably a comic character, not a horror character. Anyways, the objective of the game is, well, why not bother talking about it? Well, This is quite a predicament. Yes, it is Slenjuna's child. She was born at the asylum. Then this is one of the first times we can actually delve into the lore of the game. Now the lore part is absolutely genius. Lore in these mobile horror games were pretty much non-existent, but because of the heavy amount of lore this game hides, the players should just keep playing the games to figure out more of the lore, or just watch this video. But the asylum in general impressed a whole lot of players, and well, heavily contributes to DV's success because of the amount of features this game had. It significantly increased the popularity of Slenjuna, but it still does not reveal what strategies DV used. This success in general was not luck, it was directly by DV's creativity and skill. But the next relevant game, The Child of Slenjuna, gets no worse than the last game. This game is where all the lore comes into place. It has the same features as the last game, with this time Angeline completely being replaced by Slenjuna's child who grew up and looks like this. This time though, instead of collecting pages, the character must find pieces of a key around the map, which include the basement and the house, which makes up the key. This key opens up a vault which inside contains Slenjuna's diary, which angers Slenjuna a lot when collected. This can summon giant versions of Slenjuna characters blocking entrances and exits for a brief period of time. Once you get out with the diary, you read it. Now this is where the lore takes a dark turn. Dear Diary, it has been a good day, but I'm starting to feel dizzy and nauseous now. The whole family to the park and the weather is wonderful. Mother was in an extra good mood with Justin having that often. When we come home, she cooked us dinner. I thought it tasted a bit weird, but we didn't dare to say anything. Father looked pale and he had to lie down straight after dinner. I hear him in the other room, the pain. I'm feeling even worse. My head is spinning. Now this lore implies that Slenjuna, Slenderman, and Angeline were a very happy family. They went outside to the park and the weather was great. But the suspicion was that Angeline was in a very good mood, which she states doesn't happen often. But then Slenjuna's mom cooked dinner for the family and the food tasted weird and she ate anyway. Which was her worst mistake yet, as she was very dizzy and was in a very serious state along with Slenderman. Now what's so horrifying about this is that you can see the long dash after the word spinning, which implies that she fell unconscious right after that, and these were the final moments of her life in this diary. Slenjuna is a ghost, and same thing with her baby, same thing with Slenderman. This lore caught people's attention and this further pushed the franchise. In the new game, Slenjuna School, it's the same thing, but you're collecting batteries and you're in a school and there's only Slenjuna, I guess. If you collect all 8 batteries and the teddy bear, you can place it in this drawer which summons a picture of Slenjuna's school photo with your class. Once you escape, Slenjuna appears, but the character uses the picture to survive. Now, what is the teddy bear? I just placed it there and it summoned the picture. What? Well, this is not just a toy. It was Slenjuna's favorite toy at school, which she supposedly left at her desk. Putting this teddy bear in a specified place will summon Slenjuna's past, or just her in general. Now nobody knows why the teddy bear makes Slenjuna happy, but her grandparents mad. But there are 2 more Slenjuna games in sight, which store a lot of lore, and might answer this question. Slenjuna the Forest. Oh man, you need to find 7 keys around the forest, except they're actually challenging to find, with 1 key even requiring a code to get. These 7 keys unlock this coffin, which reveals Nosferatu, Slenjuna's husband. He looks dead at first, but then he wakes up. Now, how did he end up here? Well, I don't know, but at some parts of the game, his possessed body watches you, as in some of these screenshots, you can see Nosferatu clearly undead, meaning that he could be planning his arc against you, which all begins in Slenjuna X. In the final game of Slenjuna, the game was much different from the others, as you had to solve various puzzles to get to the book, which is key to the lore of the game. And well, Nosferatu, he woke up. He's now trying to kill you in the castle you woke up in, along with Slenjuna and the spiders in the game. If you go upstairs, you find a sword, which is then used to defend yourselves against Nosferatu. They didn't much too hard of the gameplay. Once you solve all of the puzzles, which include piano, bookshelf, and a whole lot more, this huge chunk of iron opens a door that has the book. And once you get the book, you now must do a totally friendly minigame, which shows how important the book is to Sandrina and her family because it says every detail about Sandrina's past, which shows how connected the book is to Sandrina's family. If you make it past the minigame, you trap Sandrina, which allows you to escape while Angeline is trying to get you. Once you do escape, you're now free from Sandrina and never have to deal with her ever again.
Do you want to play hide and seek?
On November 24, 2017, Granny was the first non-censored game DV would make after more than 4 years. The game consisted of you waking up in Granny's house and gathering items to unlock the front door that Granny had locked. The map had 2 floors at the time, but it was still a decent size for a horror game like this. Its unique yet genius concept exploded the franchise, getting millions and millions on the spot to play it. In early 2018, many YouTubers like FGTV started playing it, and this is one of the most popular mobile horror games at that time. I remember playing this game at that time, and it scared the shit out of me. I was like, what, 5? With the difficulty system, the huge represent, 2 escape routes, and dozens of things in the game that had the replayability of a the replayability of a gold Freddy, I guess. The game got more and more updates like Nightmare Mode. The hype continued. But what exactly was this game? Granny is Sandrina's, well, grandma obviously, but that's not it. To understand the lore, you probably don't play as the same Sandrina character, but you crash your car and find a house. You probably go out there because you need help, but then Granny smacks you and now you wake up in her house. Now you can either escape with 3 routes: the door, the car, and the sewer escape route, which is new to the game. Now why does Granny do this? Why does Granny kidnap random dudes? I don't know, but my best theory is that she is broken after what her daughter did to her granddaughter, which is the reason why she is chained up in this wall. Also, fun fact, you can place a book to free her because the book may summon her spirits and she crawls until she dies and drops the key to her. Now, because of the state she was in, there was nothing she could do but to turn evil and kidnap random innocent dudes. If Granny finds you, she also gets annoyed and slams you with her bat. Whoa! How did he get here? She is also totally deaf and can even hear floor creaks a mile away. If you solve all the puzzles for your desired escape route and get out, you win. But if you put a teddy bear in the crib, Sandrina summons looking satisfied, but Granny might be angered because you're only a containment over Granddaughter's tragic past, which also triggers Grandpa. With this action you've done, Sandrina may appear next to Granny holding the teddy bear and some of the escape routes. Now Granny is not alone in her house as she just has these 3 pets. Yes, 3 pets, and from 2 of them you can snatch an item, and from the other one, God knows how many items are in its home. At the very top floor of Granny's house, the pet spider likes to eat you, but also this. So if you load here, get the item in the cabinet, boom! Wait, why did you kill it? Wait, Granny, please, spare me! You can also do the same thing with the crow, but just make sure to bait it with the bird seed, or if you're evil, just do that. Now this angel-inspired thing he roams the sewers and is immortal, meaning that it can never die, and it is scary. Thank you. Oh! Okay, that was a mistake. Oh! Okay, I win. Granny Chapter 2 and Granny Chapter 3 are the two final games DV made. Now I know about this game, but I won't include it as it is basically Granny and Grandma's friends who are robbers and try to hunt the other player while you need 3 items to escape as it says. Chapter 2 introduces Grandpa and Granny's great granddaughter. What? Are you confused? If you kill it with a weapon which temporarily deletes Granny and Grandma for a set time depending on the difficulty and weapon, it will die. Sandrina will appear devastated and same with Granny and Grandpa, and you know if you kill it, you're certified as a monster. They will both hang you, like Angeline, but instead of it becoming a ghost, it will revive. In this huge sewer canal, basement, first floor, second floor, and helicopter top floor that house that Granny probably moved to, you have 3 ways to escape, which is the boat, front door, and helicopter. Yes, a helicopter. Now, my thing at this game is easy until you realize that Grandpa barely hears, meaning that you often won't know where he is, and by the time you know, it's too late. Now Granny 3 is a whole lot different, as it not only has a whole new different gameplay style, the best graphics out of any DV game, 2 escape routes that are currently in the game that take a lot of time and puzzling, now Grandpa has a shotgun. For players who are brave, this is a god tier for replayability and the devs sure did a good job. I won't talk a whole lot about it, but Sanjuna is now a character. She now hunts you until you drop a teddy bear into the script, but then she rewards you with something and disappears. Granny also now has an alligator and a huge mansion. You can use a train to escape or a gate to escape, which once again requires an immense amount of things to do. I beaten Granny 1 in extreme mode with God knows how many side challenges like 3 years ago, but I have not even beaten Granny 3 in practice mode, which shows how hard this game is. However, I still think the deck did a really good job and made the game somewhat alive for a couple more years, and well, that is what I could talk about for more than 10 games, and well, how TV made this genre very popular and interesting.